Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to say goodbye to a good friend. Bear was a good brother, an even better son, and a wonderful husband. He was also a good friend. This loss will take a long time to get over. Even more so because of the circumstances of the death. We do not know why this happened. We do not even know how. But we do know that Bear is gone, and we shall all miss him forever.
Bear, rest in peace.
Please.
Hello, I'm Dorothy, Bear's grandmother. God, it's such a horrible thing knowing that your grandson's dead. Some my age should never see their grandson dead. It's a horrible, horrible thing. I remember when my owner Bridget bought her son Bobby a new bear. My grandson, Bear. Oh, those were the good old days. He came in with a big bow on his head and I thought, wow, that's my grandson. Oh boy.
So me and Bear, we were real close from the beginning. I mean, that Christmas when we were both given to Bobby, I mean, I just knew we were going to be friends forever. And we were. I mean, he was a great brother. You know, he taught me how to do staircase races and how to sneak downstairs at night to get cookies. He was always up to something, Bear. He was always had that twinkle in his eye, you know. He's just one of those guys. And, you know, I loved him. I loved him for it, you know. And I knew that he was the favorite, you know. I mean, let's not kid ourselves. He was for everybody. I mean, he was Bobby's favorite. He was the one that Bobby always would, you know, take him to bed. There was a few nights where he took me too, but, you know, Bobby was his bear. Bobby was his bear. And, you know, Grandma, Dorothy, you know, always, you know, loved him more. Yeah, I mean, he was the favorite. Miranda fell for him, but I mean, it wasn't like that. I mean, I wasn't bitter. I was never bitter. You know, I loved him. He was a great brother. I mean, Bear had a really interesting life, you know. He was, as I said, he was always up to trouble. He always had some harebrained scheme he wanted to do, and, you know, I would always come with him and, you know, get in trouble with him too. But it was, you know, those are the times. Him and Brad, I mean, they were real. They'd been tight for years, you know. They were always bear wrestling and stuff, and, you know, they both always hung out with Miranda. And Miranda and Brad were both Bobby's sister's bears, so they spent most of their time together. But, you know, they always, when the night lights were out and nobody was looking, they would always hang out together. And eventually they both Brad and Bear fell in love with Miranda. And Miranda chose Bear. I mean, that big surprise there, he's Bear. And, you know, it really hurt Bradley when that happened, and oh man, the fight, God, that was awful.
You know, I can still remember the first day that me and Brad were given to Sally and our little family began. You know, the two of us had so much fun together, and then you know, Bobby was there with Bear and Melvin and, you know, me, and Bear and Brad, the three of us were just like, peas in a pod. We were inseparable. We would have so much fun together. Two of them kind of both took a liking to me, and well, that didn't go over too well. And I still remember this like it was yesterday, but they got into one of the worst fights I've ever seen. I mean, you should have seen what happened to poor Brad Bear. He was sent to the basement shortly after that. And Bear, he was so torn up about it. He felt so guilty. He never meant to hurt Brad. We were friends, and I felt responsible in a way, but well, things are what they are. And being that, Brad was out of the picture in the basement and all, me and Bear, we'd snuggle together and cuddle, and we were real close. And one thing led to another, and then I really don't think that someone would have intentionally, I can't even say it. It was an accident. It had to have been an accident. I mean, Brad, he was angry about being put in the basement, but he would never have done that. They were friends. He knew how guilty and how bad Bear felt about it. It had to have been an accident. I can't do this anymore. I'm sorry.
Bear wasn't really as great as everyone says he was. He could be a real jerk sometimes. I mean, in the early years, we had fun together, I'll admit it. We'd go in the garage and play with the lighters, and, when we were young, we connected. But, he always cared most about himself. Bear was about Bear. That's all he was about, And, later, me and Miranda, we'd been together for a few years when Bear finally made his move. Behind my back, of course. And when I confronted him about it, he comes at me, Like, oh, why are you doing this, man? She wants me better. She wants me better. And I'm just like, I stood up to him, I stood up to him like nobody else could. Like nobody else would. And of course, everyone took his side. Couldn't deal with it. So, we got into our fight. And, God, you probably heard about this from everybody already, but it was pretty awful. We tore each other apart. I'm pounding him, and I'm really wailing at him. And he's like, oh, no, stop it, Brad. Stop it, man, please. I didn't want to really hurt him, so, I stopped. I pulled back. I turned away, and while my back was turned, he does this to my back with a pair of scissors. You see that? What kind of kid wants to play with that? It's all because of Bear. Now, I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened to him. I don't know how he died. But I'd like to think it was guilt. I don't know. Maybe after all this, I can forgive him. He was my friend. He was my best friend. But what happened that day, I'll never be able to forget it.
Three months after this footage was shot, an autopsy of Bear determined that honey combined with a lethal amount of insecticide was determined to be the cause of Bear's death. The honey, however, was administered by injection, ruling out an accidental overdose as the cause of death. The search for Bear's killer remains unsolved. Brad has been questioned as a suspect, though he has since been released due to a lack of evidence. He currently lives happily with his girlfriend, Miranda.
I would like to apologize for the interviews I gave a few months back. I was in an angry place, What happened between us all those years ago, I mean, it could have happened to anyone. I mean, love blinds you, but let's just say I'm not blinded anymore. And I've forgiven Bear, but more importantly, I've forgiven myself.
2 months after this footage was shot, Brad was found dead with a plastic knife in his back. Had it not been for the wound that Brad received from the fight with Bear, the stabbing may not have been fatal. No evidence has been found, and no suspects have been determined. Miranda declined our interview request, but Dorothy and Melvin commented on the death.
I mean, it's time to let go.
Well, it's been 5 months since the funeral of my dear, dear grandson. I'm sorry, I'm still a little broken up about it. Oh, and then, not but 2 months ago, or 3 months ago, I can't remember now, Brad was gotten. Oh God, the dear soul found with a knife in his back. Ah, the tragedy. Well, I mean, not that much of a tragedy, really. Brad was snooping around a bit too much and was healthy. It's just not healthy, mind you. Not that I say he deserved it, but, well, let's just leave it at that, shall we? I'm just so broken up. It's just so tragic. I don't know what I'm going to do anymore. Oh my God, it's at the time. Well, this has been a good interview then. I suppose I'll be off late for my bridge club meeting. Right. Oh, is that my spoon? Oh, I suppose I'll grab that then. I seem to have forgotten it. Nothing suspicious here.
I found that music has been a really good outlet for my emotional pain with Bear. I've been writing a lot of music, writing a lot of good music, a lot about Bear, and it's really helped me to feel free, and feel good again. You know, I wrote a song about Bear the other day actually, and I think it's really something special. And I really think Bear would be proud of me. It's all for you, buddy.
I will remember, Bear. You will remember, Bear. Forget yourself. Bear was my brother. I will never forget you, Bear.
You saw nothing.